Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're joined once again by a good friend, Luca Bendoni. Luca, how are you? Lots to discuss as always.
Hi, James. It's a pleasure to be back as always. And yeah, there's a lot to discuss, but mostly one thing I feel like very, very concrete, finally, topic for Watford. So I'll let you speak, but we all know why we are here.
Yes, and we will start with the main man, the Italian man, Luca, Edoardo Bove. First and foremost, for you, how long have Watford been working on this deal? Because as a fan of a championship club, it's very rare for us to secure a player of this caliber. So how long have the club been working on securing Eduardo? And how
So,
is it possible for us to sign someone like him?
so it was a very long journey, I tell you, for Bove to join Watford because the directorship of Watford have been closely monitoring his situation, not since his problem, but almost, because they knew that with an implant, with a heart implant that he has, he cannot play in Italy due to the regulations. That's also the reason why Eriksen couldn't play anymore at Inter when he had the issue at the Euros. And so Watford, since they are almost Italian, no, they were in knowledge of the situation and they kept posted about the situation week by week. And when they understood they could have gone for him, they actually went and managed to pull a signing that it's massive. It's a statement signing. Of course, he won't be fit to play 90 minutes from the starting point. He has not playing. He has not played a match since 1st December 2024 when he had the problem. So it's a long time, as you know. It's more than a year. But it's a massive signing, and I think that the work that Watford made into this signing, at least in first conversation with the player, etc., is almost a year of work,
Wow.
because they knew that in England he could have played. He can play in England, no, and so they followed the situation for a very long time. I can tell you, a very long time.
Wow, that's extraordinary. I mean, Luca, you are a journalist based in Italy yourself. I know you watch lots of football. I'm sure you've seen lots of Eduardo at both Roma and Fiorentina. When he's fit and available to play at Watford, what can fans expect from him, both as a person, as a player? Describe him a bit to me. What is he like on the
Yeah.
football pitch?
So starting off from the person, no, in Italy we all love him, and even before the problem, of course, when he had the problem, unfortunately, when you have some things like this, you become a national star in this sense, because all the people, even if non-football people, feel closer to you. No, for example, all the people like 50-year-old, 60-year-old, that maybe they don't even follow football, but they know Bove because he has always been a great character in his, let's say, revenge story. No, now to give back to get back to football and give back to community, give back to others. He has always been involved since the problem in social activities and this kind of stuff. So he's a very good person. And also, he was loved in the football community even before this. So before the problem, like all the Roma fans have always loved him because he's a Roma homegrown, basically. He has been there all his life. And in the moment the club made the decision to loan him out to Fiorentina, it was the last day of the market in summer 2024. Roma fans were actually disappointed from the decision, no? And in just a few months, even before the problem, he got the love also of Fiorentina fans. So he's a guy that you easily fall in love to, okay? Because he has a good personality. He always fights a lot in the pitch. He's a very complete midfielder, in my opinion, because technically speaking, top player. You cannot say anything. But the thing is, he's very English in his style, no? Because he's a sort of box to box. He can play more in defense and also more in offense. He's very complete. He has a lot of effort also physically in the pitch, and now that's the aspect that we have to keep an eye on, because of course he is restarting after more than a year, so his physical output cannot be the same of 2 years ago, let's say, when he was in Roma, 21 years old, very strong, very, very fit, But I think in a short time he can get back to it. Also because he has always kept fit, he has always kept a good form, even if not playing. But of course, training in the gym, training with a personal trainer, even on the pitch, of course, with the trainer, a coach, etc., is not the same than training with the team properly. And in Italy, he could not even train with the team. Okay, so he has not been training with the team.
Okay.
Thing is,
And
yeah,
I wanted to clarify that as well because I saw a few fans suggesting that he has still been training with the Roma first team. Are you saying that hasn't been the case?
so officially it cannot be done,
Okay.
technically. But yeah, he has been at the pitch, of course, like training individually and everything. Yeah, you can. I'm not sure about the team training. Okay, thing is.
On Eduardo, of course, you described the incident, a terrible incident that happened to him just over a year ago, where he collapsed on the pitch. As you say, very similar to Christian Eriksen. Just taking a guess, Luca, of course, me and you are both not medical experts, but if Eduardo is to sign next week, how long would you say maybe you would expect for him to come onto the pitch? At Brentford, for example, Eriksen, it took him just over a month, I believe. So would you say maybe mid to late February could be when Eduardo makes his first?
Yeah, I'm not really into his situation, so it's difficult to predict. I should have to speak with him or with his camp, to better understand his conditions. But thing is that he's an hard worker, so he will try his best for sure to be back as soon as possible on the pitch, and that's very clear to me, and it will be very clear to Watford fans as soon as you see him work and operate. Of course, this is a big story in Italy. It's very mediatic story. Everyone is following this because it's a beautiful story that he can get back to what he loves and he's great to do. So playing football, and he was an hope also for Italian national team. But now I'm not sure he can play even in the national team due to the regulations. No,
Wow, okay.
so yeah, that's a problem. But let's see. We all actually root for him, and we hope that he can get back to his level. That is, of course, not, with all due respect, a level of a championship. It's a Premier League level, Serie A level, La Liga level, and even high Serie A because he was playing in Roma, Fiorentina, so all clubs that usually in the last 10 years, 15 years have been, competing in Champions League or Europa League, Conference League. So it's a European football, level of player. But for Watford, it's a massive signing, and I know some backstories about this transfer that will be made public, I think, after everything is official. So we cannot disclose everything now, but it's a beautiful story also how the club believed in him and made him and convinced him and persuaded him to join. So beautiful. He will get back on the pitch soon. He needs minutes, that's what you need. Minutes with the intensity of the actual match,
Yeah,
because even if you train with the team, let's say you can train with the team, but training is not the same as the match, the
of
intensity
course, of
is very
course.
different. And also another aspect, the intensity of the Serie A is not the intensity of the championship. So we cannot discuss about the tactical aspect. Of course, Serie A is way more tactical, etc., etc. But the intensity, me watching many Serie A matches from the stands at the stadium, etc. And when I come to watch championship matches, because I watched it like 3 matches,
You
I
you
think.
you came to Vicarage Road last
Yeah,
season,
absolutely.
Luca. I
To
remember,
Vicarage, I
yeah.
came 2 times last year to Vicarage,
Yeah.
for example. The intensity of the championship is higher than the intensity of the
Wow.
Serie A.
Okay.
In some matches, of course, it's not a general rule,
Would you say
but
Serie A is more tactical rather than
yeah,
physical?
for
Yeah.
sure. The defenses are tough, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. While in the championship, sometimes you see the ball that is going from a side to the other of the pitch in like 1 second, and all the players are shifting and
Yeah.
running everywhere. So it will take time for him to adapt to this football. But he is a player for this kind of football. Even before the problem and the injury, he had always had offers from Premier League. Let's say I remember that, for example, Nottingham Forest were interested before him going to Fiorentina. So when Roma
Wow.
decided to loan him out in summer 2024, Forest, I think it was a Premier League club, I think Forest were interested in him, and also Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany. So some clubs in leagues that are more intense than Serie A. So he's an English type of player, and I like this transfer, to be honest.
That's good to hear, Luca. Thank you for your insight. Just finally, I know you said you won't reveal all details today. You'll wait until confirmation
Yeah.
from the club. I do want to ask, though, if you can elaborate slightly on his contract, because you reported on social media it's a initial 6 month deal
Yeah,
with the option for a multi-year extension. Now, I'm really
exactly.
interested in the multi-year extension part, of course. Is that on the club side? Is that on the player side? And what would trigger that extension? Is it appearances, promotion to the Premier League, for example? Are you able to elaborate just a little bit further today on what that could mean?
No, what we can just say is that the option, I feel, from what they say, will be discussed and decided in between the two parties.
Okay.
Everything will be in a familiar relationship, let's say, because Watford believed in Bove since the starting point, and Bove is trusting, is putting his trust in Watford for him to get back. So given this relationship, and given the expectancy of this marriage being a great one, they will discuss at the end of the season and see how to develop the situation. No, they will see his level of fitness, which I don't doubt will be fantastic. They will see what can be next for him, if to stay 1 more year, 2 more year, to build something at Watford. Of course, it will depend, Premier League or not Premier League, Championship, everything. But I feel it's quite easy that at least the option gets triggered. I don't feel there will be an obligation, let's say, so if he
Okay.
manages to do this kind of matches, etc.
Yeah.
But that's just my feeling, okay? So I will discuss with sources again
Yeah.
after the official statement is made, etc., because of course I want to at least keep private until
Of
everything is
course.
official, and I can feel it's this sort of thing. But yeah, as I broke, it's a 6 months structure initially. I broke it like last week, I think,
Yeah.
and then it's 5 year contract, should be
Wow.
4 or 5 year contract, so long term. And that will be, so the 6 months is just a starting point to understand if it can go well, and I feel it will go well, and so they will prolong.
And we know he likes England. We know he likes London. It's been reported he has
Yeah,
a good relationship with Riccardo Calafiori at
yeah,
Arsenal
they,
as
they grew
well.
together in Roma, so yeah.
Yeah. Did he also play a big part in convincing Eduardo to join? Because of course, Watford and Arsenal train next to each other. The training grounds are next door. So did Riccardo play a small part in bringing Eduardo to Watford?
To be honest, I read a lot about it. I have not had the chance to ask it, so I won't be here like saying yeah or no. But for sure, having someone in a new city, when you move in a new city, someone close, it's a good part. So I don't know if it actually played such a role, because I feel that if Bove was convinced about the project of Watford, it's not due to Calafiori, of course. Otherwise, if you need a friend, you bring some friends from home. but
Yeah.
but of course, surely he has spoken, because when a player transfers and moves country, moves club, etc., they always speak to each other to understand some more information. So I can see it happening that Bove calls Calafiori, since they are friends, since they were in Roma Youth Academy and everything. Yeah, so yeah.
And just lastly, Luca, a couple more questions on the
Mhm.
transfer window. Valon Barami has been with Javi Gracia at the last two press conferences, and Valon has made it very clear publicly that Watford are looking to target both a left back and potentially, if possible, a new central defender. Of course, Caleb Wiley has gone back to Chelsea, Max Lane recalled to Manchester City. What's the latest on the defensive situation at Watford?
So the club didn't want, at least at the starting point of January, to change a lot, but unfortunately the scenario was that Alain was recalled by Man City. We are not discussing about Wiley so much because he hasn't played really
Yeah.
because of his injury problems, but it's understood that the club are looking for a player that can either play on the left and on the right, so it's not an easy call to be made.
Okay.
They have a list of let's say 5-10 players, something like this. Cesaringa, the Peruvian player, was also on the list, but from reports in Peru, we understand that he's heading toward a move to the MLS, so probably it won't be him. But I can confirm that Watford had him on the list, so the name was real, and to keep it on the list was real, because he's a right-footed that plays on the left, so he can also play on the right. Watford, and Javi specifically, it's a Javi request to have a player that can play on both sides.
He wants a versatile player, someone who can play
he wants
all
a versatile
positions.
player that can play either on the right and on the left. Okay, but then it's not easy even to there are many ideas to keep in the market. It's not easy. The Brexit regulation, the homegrown regulation. Watford now has to understand how to manage with the homegrowns. You need a certain number. So also Morris going out to Leyton Orient, that is basically agreed in principle, let's say like this. It depends on a replacement, but the replacement also depends on how many homegrowns you can manage to have. So they will have to understand all these things, Then there are some outgoings to be made, but really not so many. There is Duomo that can leave, of course, as we know, but he has no concrete team yet for him. The only concrete outgoing at the moment is, from my understanding, is Morris, but it depends on a replacement. So, and also the incoming, the most urgent thing is this player. So the fullback, left or right fullback that can play on either side. For the center back, we have still to see. In my opinion, it's not 100% sure that Watford will go for a center back. And as I said, as soon as City recalled Max Alain, Watford wanted to put trust in Mendy, because they bought him in summer, and in summer they followed him a lot, and they thought he was gonna break it in the championship, but he struggled in the first months, as we saw. But they have still a lot of faith in him, but they are also listening a lot to what Javi says, what the manager says, and so I feel that the next week will be crucial in understanding which opportunities will be possible to catch. Like for example, I can reveal you on the left back position. Soler was never so close. Okay. The first real name was Hamas. Okay, Harry Hamas, and it was basically done. Okay, Hamas was one step away. Okay, let's say done. No, but they were okay. They were fine. Problem is, actually two problems. First, United sacked the coach. And so they wanted to keep every player in January for the new coach to consider who can be helpful and who to loan out or sell. And it's also the problem that, for example, Roma had with Zirkzee. Okay, they were not fine with Zirkzee. It was not done, but they had the idea of them buying Zirkzee in January. They were convinced. And in the end, they couldn't manage the signing because of the Man United, situation. And the same is for Harry Hamas. And the second problem, let's say, with Hamas is that he cannot play on the right. Like, he maybe can adapt, but it's not natural, So they are trying first to understand if they can manage to sign a player like what Javi would like to, would prefer, so this versatile player. If not, of course, it's not to be desperate about. They will sign another type of fullback, and they will adapt because they feel the team is well made. And actually, with Javi, results have started to improve. Now we've seen 2 results that were not great, of course, but the situation is, it's not like a dramatic situation that because you lose a couple of games, then you have to spend massive
I'm feeling calm, Luca. Do not worry.
Very calm. Also, the club, they have trust, they're confident. So that's the situation at the moment on the incomings and also on the outgoings. That's it. Very quiet.
Luca, a pleasure as always. I really appreciate your time over in Milan. Lastly, are you planning to fly to England and watch Edoardo Bove in action at some point this season? I'm sure that's something you would like to do at some point.
Yeah, it can be earlier than you expect. So no, I have a London trip in plan
Yeah.
end of February, starting of March. But Watford are playing away, so I will not come to Vicarage. Okay, that weekend they
Okay.
are away. I think I'll go to some other Premier League matches. I think, but let's see if I can manage to come even earlier. Okay,
Okay.
because I'd
Fantastic.
like
Would you
to.
say Watford is your second club, Luca? Your
No, I
second love?
cannot. I cannot say because I don't even have a first club, so we cannot even. I have no club, no
Uh,
first, no second, and no
no.
third. Okay,
Okay.
so but
Okay.
yeah, I have a good relationship with
Yeah.
you, Watford fans, with all the Watford fans, because I managed to have couple news about the club, and so I felt the affection and I appreciate you. So that's what I can say about Watford. And the shirt was there even before the news. If you're
Who's on
wondering,
the
I
shirt,
have
Luca? What's the what player?
João Pedro.
Ah, João Pedro, of course.
Yeah, he
Balling out
gifted
at
me
Chelsea at the
he
moment as
gifted me
well.
the shirt, so that's why I have it. It's match worn,
Wow. I
this
think
one.
he scored
Then I have
he
a couple
scored
more
yesterday
shirts
as well.
around on the other, but not Watford shirts, other clubs.
Luca, a pleasure as always. Thank you for your time and thank you for watching at home. If you haven't already, go and follow Luca on social media. I think it's just at Luca Bendoni, very
Yeah,
simple to find. And make sure to follow the Watford Way across all socials as well. And make sure to subscribe here on YouTube too. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.